वो इस किस्म का बंदा है जो इन चीजों को अंडरस्टैंड ही नहीं करता। तो वो उसको अगर आप कहते हैं कि भाई आपने अपना डाटा देना है, तो वो अपनी पूरी कोशिश करेगा कि वो डाटा ना दे, क्योंकि वो उससे घबराता है कि उसकी चीजें जो है वो शायद उसको उसी के खिलाफ यूज कर लिया जाएगा, क्योंकि प्रॉब्लम्स तो होते हैं हर जगह पे। तो उसको, क्योंकि उसने कभी कंप्यूटर पे खुद भी नहीं बैठा, वो आ, उसके जो है वो लोग आगे स्टाफ बैठा हुआ है, तो उनको क्योंकि इसके बारे में एजुकेशन नहीं है, कभी उन्होंने यूज नहीं किया। आ, जो लोग इस वक्त आप कह लें 55 प्लस में हैं, वो इस वक्त चीफ एग्जेक्टिव या इस तरह की सीटों पे बैठे हैं, और वो कंप्यूटर के बारे में बिल्कुल जो है दे डोंट हैव एनी इंफॉर्मेशन। So I think those people who are having the authority, because they don't have the proper information how this system works, and they have so many doubts. That is the biggest hurdle at the moment.
बहुत शुक्रिया आपका।
Thank you, sir.
जिशान, आपको आवाज आ रही है मेरी? जिशान हैदर, जिशान हैदर, आपको आवाज आ रही है मेरी? जी, ओवर टू जिना साहब, प्लीज गो अहेड।
थैंक यू अमर साहब। अच्छा सर, इसी पॉइंट पे मैं एक सवाल मैं जावेद साहब आप अगर जवाब दे दें, और मैं खालिद मुगल साहब से भी, एंड देन कम टू बिल आल्सो सेम क्वेश्चन। इशू मेरे ख्याल से पाकिस्तान में शायद ये भी है कि जिनके पास अथॉरिटी है उनके पास नॉलेज नहीं है, और जिनके पास नॉलेज है उनके पास अथॉरिटी नहीं है। अब ये वो जो राइट पीपल फॉर राइट जॉब का जो एक नारा था, तो आप क्या समझते हैं कि ये है पाकिस्तान का ये मसला है अभी बड़े लेवल पे?
एब्सोल्युटली यही है, एब्सोल्युटली यही है। देखिए, मैं इसमें कहूंगा देयर इज नो पब्लिक पॉलिसी इन हेल्थ, क्योंकि अभी हम हेल्थ डेटा की बात कर रहे हैं, बट दिस इक्वली अप्लाइज टू ऑल डिसिप्लिन इन पाकिस्तान, बी इट एजुकेशनल रिकॉर्ड, एवरीथिंग, राइट। बहुत सारी बात बिल्कुल सही है कि वो डरता है। अब ये हम सब समझते हैं किस बात से डरता है वो, ठीक है जी। इसमें हम्बल सबमिशन ही होगी बिल से। बिल, माय हम्बल सबमिशन टू यू वुड बी that there's a HIPAA law implemented in USA for the last, I think, plus 40 years now. Why HIPAA law came in USA, you know it very well, right? So in that law, do you have some provision that research data can be shared with the pharmaceutical companies?
Yes, Bill, please.
Yes, I can't speak to the specific laws, but you have to keep in mind that a big difference is that in most of the Western countries, it is the companies that are driving technology advancement, not the governments. The governments are not the ones saying, do this, don't do that. And so as a result, the companies run forward and they advance things and they use things. And later on, somebody says, well, we need to restrict this. So the restrictions end up being, for the most part, only partial. Europe is maybe a little bit more extreme, but in the United States here, what we've seen is a huge consolidation. For example, in the medical field, there are very few independent doctors left here, at least in the part of the United States where I live, in the area around New York. What has happened is all the doctors have joined together in big medical groups. And these medical groups then only have one database of all the data and all the records. And they do this so that you as a patient, that the data is stored patient-oriented, not by doctor. So I can go to any doctor for any need pretty much in my area, and they know all my records. They know what prescriptions I have from other doctors, what treatments I've had, what tests I've had done anywhere. And as a result, I get much better treatment because they know all that about me. So this is one way that the sharing of data is becoming more and more broad. And I think I saw this 40 years ago, 50 years ago in Germany on the pharmacies, where they shared all the data so that anybody who went to get a prescription filled, they know all the other prescriptions that person is taking and can identify any drug interactions that would be bad. But in the meantime here, as I said, they've gone a little crazy with this privacy idea. But the benefits are so huge that the companies are chasing it. We have right now, you know, you mentioned here about the governments forcing people to share data. A lot of companies are building the databases because they see there's a need. So in the medical field, we've got a lot of different companies, competing companies, each working to create great databases of medical data that they will then basically sell access to. So the competition is great in that regard because they're all rushing to be better and better than the other guy. Has some downsides because they're not sharing, and one might discover some great discovery and others don't know about it. But that first company that discovered that sees that as a marketing advantage to tell people, look, we have more valuable information than the other guy does. You need in Pakistan to start getting companies to say there's value in creating access. So they might go and make licensing agreements with people that have huge amounts of data, but they can also start the process of encouraging groups in Pakistan, hey, join together to share certain data that's everybody's mutual benefit, and maybe that will accelerate things. Thank you.
Thank you,
Bill, you have a wonderful point. Khalid sahab, I would like you to join with me in this discussion with Bill. Bill, let me give you a real use case. For example, in Pakistan, there's a great competition between the pharmaceutical companies manufacturing these medicines, naturally for selling their medicines. So is it possible that if incentive is given to the doctor to share the data, to the pharmaceutical companies, and to any other entity we can talk about, right? That if you will share data with us about the disease doctor identified, the medical prescription that was given, and the result of that. If it was successful, fine. If it was not successful, I think scenarios or data entities and attributes can be created. That is a very simple way. So, and the base of that data, some incentive is given to the doctors, some incentive is given to the pharmaceutical companies. Incentives can be discussed, and Khalid Saab is the right person to give us the incentives the government can give to the countries. This will encourage the doctors, to decision makers, and to pharmaceutical companies to share their data. Here, I would like to suggest on a technical ground that sharing is not, nobody can copy it. For example, my data is available on databases that I had this problem in Karachi, this medicine was given to me, then I was again rechecked in Islamabad. If this data is available in different databases and with only see only information, I think nobody interested into that. But when we aggregate it, then some research patterns and then AI-based algorithm can be run to identify that. So, Bill, I would like to have your comment on this.
Do you have a lot of professional associations in Pakistan? For example, are almost all pharmacists members of the Pakistani Pharmaceutical Association or something like that? Do you have things like that?
Yes, we have. Yes, we have.
Because those are the places that would be best to create the incentives. When we think of the tourism industry, and you look at most places in the world have regional tourist associations, and all the hotels, the restaurants, the entertainment facilities tend to belong to these tourist associations. And even though they're competing normally with one another, they work together to bring tourists to their region, because if people don't come to their region, they don't even have a tourist to fight over. So where we see the big incentives to cooperate and get those mutual benefits is generally coming from the associations, not from the governments. The governments are always so reactive and so slow to react. It's almost like they don't do anything until the pressures are so great, they're almost forced to do it. And in the few cases where they do things in advance, what you tend to have is theorists saying, well, based on this theory, we think this is maybe the best thing. But very often that is not as good as to be able to take the practice and be able to know this has been successful and that has not been successful, and base your programs and incentives and everything you do, base it more on the experiences and not just on the theories. So this is a reason to have your industry, the practitioners, the people that are in that business be driving it. And the best place to do that is in the associations. So they're doing things that benefit the whole group and not just the individual. I hope that helps.
Thank you. Actually, I would like to take this here further. Khalid Mughal sahab, this is my question to you. For example, I think 98% people won't have any objection if their data, Medicare data is shared, right? Or not, I think shared is the wrong word. If their medical record is used for medical, for some research purposes, which would benefit the other people also. For example, if the patient, when he or she enters into hospital or go to the doctor, she or she sign that I don't have any objection if my data is shared for some medical purposes. So as a response to this agreement, he or she should be given, let's say, medicine on some rebated price, something like this, right? Or some other incentive we can talk about. Khalid, would it work?
Let me tell you, sir, the patient is so helpless. He doesn't have any authority about his data, or he's never concerned so much about his data, and his data is being taken. The major problem, once again, comes at the level of the doctors. The doctors are doing some malpractices. They are prescribing some medicines which are not required. And I can surely say that if that the medicines which are being prescribed and those are not required, but there are some incentives which a doctor is using, or sometimes he's just cruel. He's giving 2 antibiotics at a time just to make his reputation that this patient went to him and he got the results quickly, because this gives him the business. So actually these decision makers or the people who are in power, they are afraid, and because they are doing something wrong. In our case, the patient is so helpless, but everybody is taking advantage of him. The labs. Has any lab asked you that whether we can take your data or not, or they just take your data, and the hospital takes your data, you never know where it is. The actual problem comes that what was done with that data and what was being done to you, you never know. You are being prescribed some lab tests which were absolutely not required. And if it is analyzed, then there a lot of malpractices will be uncovered. This is the problem.
Thank you. Thank you. That's a very important point from your side. I think let's discuss offline. And I think this will be a great national service to the health cause of Pakistan. Zishan, you want to say something? Zishan,
Yes, sir. Thank you very much for giving me the chance. My question is for Mr. Bill and the other respected participants. that if we want to start using artificial intelligence in real-time scenario from a very, very simple and small use case or an example. So can we do it for the sake of just getting the ball rolling? For example, if somebody walks into the hospital with a MRI or a CT scan or an X-ray, and he has been tested for that lab for, say, pneumonia, or maybe for some lung cancer disease or some blood cancer or whatever, or a fracture or osteoporosis or whatever, maybe sugar detection, the diabetes. So if the doctor has the access to that big database which you are talking about, and if we can manage to have that database made available to the doctor, and he has got some artificial intelligence application available at his desktop, can he use that CT scan or that medical imaging services using the AI in a real-time scenario so that he can be able to diagnose and give the personalized treatment to that patient? So that is a very, very simple and straightforward case, and I think that can be used without a very big, expenditure cost or anything. It's a very real-time scenario. Thank you very much.
Great question. Bill, over to you, please.
Yes, yes. I mean, there are real examples of this. For example, Sloan Kettering, which is one of the world's foremost medical centers with regards to cancer. They work very closely with IBM Watson, the artificial intelligence from IBM, on doing diagnoses, for recommending treatments, but also for recommending the tests. They'll be able to come out and look at a patient and be able to say, okay, based on all the inputs we have regarding that patient from various tests or symptom descriptions, whatever, we think these are the potential causes, medical causes, and what's their confidence level? What's the confidence level for each of those possible diagnoses? And then be able to say, but if we had the input from this test or that specific test, that is likely to increase our confidence in the prescription by so much. And therefore, the doctor is in a position to be able to say, yes, we should make this test because we see it has value. If a certain test goes out and says, well, yeah, you could take the test, but it's probably not going to increase or decrease the confidence level in the diagnosis, so why bother doing that? Skip that. But I think one of the steps that's needed is, in many places where the amount of services are low, or the awareness in the population of choices in services are low, they feel very dependent on whatever. If there's only one hospital, if there's only one clinic, they go there, and whatever the people in the white coats say, hey, that must be, that must be true because they went and had an education or whatever. So they don't question. And the biggest thing is to inform the public of things that could be important to them, to let them be aware that if you go to a place that shares your various test results, then you're not going to be taking redundant testing. Then you're more likely to get better and accurate diagnoses, so that they're able to make an informed choice. And this applies to any businesses, but in the medical field, it's of particular value. So I think the situation here, so often when we're talking about Pakistan, we talk about the universities and we talk about the top 10, 15% of the population. But the biggest challenge is getting awareness to the bulk of the population, whether it's small businesses, to be aware that, hey, there's a service out there that could increase your profits or reduce your costs or improve the quality of product or service that you're selling, or to the general population about saying, these are the features that are most valuable for some kind of a product or service you're looking for. So it's a kind of education, not so much here whether you can read or do math, but just your education here that there are differences between products and services, and you need to realize you have a choice, and you have to be able to have make informed choices. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you very much. We had an excellent session today. A lot of information is given, shared with everyone. Before I invite Ammar Jafri Saab, Bill, just one very quick question. If I ask same question to you, the Rotary Pakistan can share the information, and then we like to share something for that, like a CSR activities or maybe for academia point of view. So would they share information with us, Bill?
I think Rotary in Pakistan can really play a huge role in all of this. That gives you access into many, many communities, but it gives you resources, whether that's the thought resources, the strategic thinking of coming up with ways to advance the awareness in the general population regarding all the different things we've been talking about, creating and replacing fear of the unknown with really hunger and desire for the known, for what they see they could have. The Rotary clubs, but they have to be organized to do that. And this is something I hope between you and Ammar Jafri and others that are involved with Rotary in Pakistan, that we might be able to get Rotary Pakistan to be a really shining example out there of actually bringing about movement in your country by going and mobilizing large numbers of people in communities all over the country to mobilize the masses of the population to want to become strivers to get the education, to want to be more informed about these things, to be hopeful about technology and opportunities, and not necessarily afraid of anything that's different from what they've known in the past. Rotary in the Lions and organizations like that working together, and you may be aware, Rotary, Lions, and Kiwanis, the three biggest global service organizations, have an agreement at the very highest level to collaborate more on things like this. But because it's a decentralized organization, the best thing is to be able to go and create a movement within Rotary and Lions in Pakistan and set goals to actually bring about the changes in the mindset of so many average Pakistanis, so that they are out there striving to make a better Pakistan. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you very much. We had an excellent show today, and I can call it, this is a part one today, and the next Tuesday we will continue from here for data science, AI, and ML. I'd like to thank everyone and like to invite Ammar Jafri Saab for closing remarks.
I think Zishan has a point to raise his hand. Zishan?
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Bill, for the very detailed answer. I would like to add a couple of points. Number one, in Pakistan, there are few public hospitals which with a very huge amount of patients walking in on daily basis in OPDs, and even the private hospitals are crowded. So if yes, we can get a artificial intelligence app going for early and faster diagnosis and treatment, we can get this traffic control of these patients, and we can get the lives of doctors happy. The other point raised by Mr. Khalid Mughal is about fraud detection. Artificial intelligence is capable of reading through these records of prescriptions of medicines and labs, and the artificial intelligence can also detect the frauds Mr. Khalid Mughal was talking about. So we can use that in controlling this problem. Thank you.
Thank you, Dishan. Thank you very much. Ammar Jafri Saab, closing remarks, please.
I think Bill has again is that I cannot ignore Bill. Please.
Just very quickly, Adnan Siddiqui is working here to leverage artificial intelligence to bring medical services and to the masses, and to integrate between the local, the clinics and the hospitals to be able to maximize efficiency.
Please, Bill, go ahead. Please, Bill, go ahead.
Yeah, so I just wanted to mention that because maybe this is a good example to bring about and in looking at a particular profession, the medical field, and thinking about, okay, how do you integrate all the different parts that can play a role there to maximize the service to the greatest number of people in the most efficient way? And I think what he's doing is a great example of that. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Professor Mushtaq, आपको आवाज आ रही है मेरी? मुश्ताक साहब, मुश्ताक साहब. Okay, साथियों, it has been a wonderful evening, I
Hello, sir.
believe. जी, मुश्ताक
Hello.
साहब, आवाज आ रही है मेरी? अच्छा, मुश्ताक साहब फिजिक्स के बहुत काबिल माशाल्लाह. सर, आपसे पूछना चाहूंगा कि फिजिक्स के लॉज की जो एप्लीकेबिलिटी है डेटा के ऊपर, वो डेफिनेटली आप मेरे से बेहतर समझते हैं. तो आज आप थे भी हमारे साथ मीटिंग के अंदर, तो ये फरमाइए डॉक्टर साहब कि अगर हम कोई फिजिक्स के हवाले से कोई रिसर्च करना चाहें तो उसका डाटा मिल सकता है हमें इस वक्त कोई?
Yes, sir, data is available. And even the past data is saved in our space time. Sir, I performed the duty in census duty in E11 as a supervisor, and I observed that it's so difficult to extract data. No one is ready to share their data. So we have, sir, no data in our neurology field, neurology sciences. And I hope that AI and data science will play its role in medical sciences, healthcare, and R&D projects. And physics, sir, physics have a lot of data. So now we have to study them and apply it to our practical life. So thank you, sir, so much. Thank you, sir.
Ji, Ammar Jafri sahab, close remarks, please. Ammar Jafri sahab.
Yes, thank you, Amajina sahab. This was a wonderful evening. And I think all of us will agree that we are also getting mature now in discussions. You know, I see a very high quality discussion. I think not a single minute is wasted in any irrelevant thing. Daily we discuss different things, but we try to keep on track. And normally people ask us for the recording and we give them the recording also. So I think this effort is by itself becoming a very big database. And I'm sure, Nishan, can you tell us the audience that if this information, what we are saying, is fed to some AI system, can it generate some consolidated video for it?
You mean to say the video for content creation for marketing purposes, or just for the awareness?
No, not for marketing purposes. I'm myself not clear what I'm asking, but मेरा सवाल आपसे ये है कि जैसे अभी हम इतनी बातें कर रहे हैं इसके अंदर, इसकी कोई सेंस तो है ना डिस्कशन की? कोई ऐसा एआई के अंदर, क्योंकि माशाल्लाह ये आपका डोमेन है, कोई एआई के अंदर ऐसी चीज है कि जिसको हम ये पूरी रिकॉर्डिंग फीड कर दें और वो इसमें से कोई रेलिवेंट कीवर्ड ढूंढ के हम एक ऐसी वीडियो बना दें जो हम स्टूडेंट्स वगैरह को दिखा सके कि जी हमने एक डिस्कशन की डाटा की अहमियत के ऊपर और उसको एनालाइज करने के ऊपर और उसको जितने प्रॉन्स एंड कॉन्स थे उसका नेट रिजल्ट ये है? या अभी एआई वहां पहुंची नहीं है अभी तक?
I will have to see, sir. Maybe the speech is converted to the text, and then text can be converted into useful notes or summaries. And
चलिए
that
इसमें थोड़ा
can
सा
be done.
डिस्कस करें, आप बात करेंगे. साथियों, बहुत शुक्रिया आप लोगों का. मैं पर्सनली बहुत मशहूर हूँ आप लोगों का कि आपके आने से मुझे इंकरेजमेंट मिलती है और मेरी इंकरेजमेंट से 4 और लोगों को मिलती है और 4 से और 8 लोगों को मिलती है. Allah Ta'ala. Yes, Bill, please, you want to say anything?
Yes, I think this idea to try to take all the information that's being shared in these events that you're doing, I think this is a fantastic idea. One of the big challenges, however, is, you know, we cover a lot of territory in the discussions that to find a way to take the parts that discuss certain aspects and group them together so that if somebody is wanting to say, okay, where's the proof of how fast things are evolving, or where are the examples of which industries or which fields offer the greatest opportunities in the nearest future, or what are the risks that are going to appear the quickest, or problems that need to be overcome, or whatever. But so you get into the data science or the sharing of data or whatever. Somehow to be able to create a database that is almost hierarchical, that people could navigate through and have a particular object of focus, and then see what has been all of the discussion related to that particular object or topic, but then be able to see, okay, what are the related topics, and be able to navigate across to that. This might even be something that would be a cool project to have a group here come together and say, you know what, let's make an info base or knowledge base on all these topics that will structure the data and categorize it so that people can find information about the particular aspect they're interested in most quickly, and then see all the different perspectives relative to that particular topic. I designed something like this for one of the largest banks of the world for their worldwide operations. So I could probably contribute some good thoughts to that. But I don't see out there right now commercially or in open source anybody with such a database that could be so easily navigated to structure the data in the most useful way. Just a thought.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill.
everyone.
I think Zishan, you can say something if you want to say, because the information is very, very relevant. Zishan.
Yes, taking it forward, we do have an AI app in the medical science, and that can read the speech between the doctor and the patient, and whatever is said and whatever is heard, and that is converted in real time into text, and the medical notes recorded is also converted in the real time into text, and that text can be converted into a structured database for storing the data, and then that data is created in real time and stored in real time. And if we are talking about one public hospital in Rawalpindi or Islamabad or Karachi or Lahore, the huge amount of data can be gathered on a single day, and it can be converted into a useful piece of information. So if that can be done on a very small scale, on a pilot project basis, that is somewhere we can start immediately, like an OPD.
Thank you, Zishan. Let's discuss this tomorrow, and I would like to take it as a part of CS Plus, and I'll discuss it with tomorrow in the office. Thank you all. It has been overstretched like always, and thank you. I'm looking forward to see you tomorrow on a cybersecurity webinar. Thank you, Abhay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. We had a wonderful session today, and as I said, this is a part 1 of data sciences today, and next week we'll do the same thing, and we'll meet you tomorrow 8 o'clock same time. Look after yourself. Allah Hafiz.